Hey everyone, I wanted to touch base on something which is, I don't know, I would say a long history with, but I have history with. So it's basically two things actually, gay marriage and homosexuality. So I'm not homosexual, just saying that right now. I'm not gay or anything. But there was a time in my life, especially early on, when I had a how do you say it? I don't like to say like homophobia because that means you're afraid of someone because of something, because they're gay or whatever, which I think is not accurate assessment. I would like to say it was more of just a strong distaste towards homosexuality and being gay in general and things like that. And this is pretty early on, late teens, early 20s, I'd say. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I reached a point where I started to realize that the emotional reactions I was having was completely absurd and nonsensical. And I started to realize that I wasn't acting out of rationale other than just some unknown irritation because someone was gay or whatever. And it was just weird. It was a weird time in my life. And then I think it was mainly getting to know one of my cousins who at the time had, I wouldn't say recently had come out and stuff. And initially, of course, I was not like, you're gay, I don't like you, whatever. But then I started to question feelings I was having and stuff, like trying to find a rationale on why I would feel the way I did. I wasn't super religious or anything like that. I just had this weird rationale of gay people are bad, right? Which is stupid. So I had this cousin, right, and who was gay, and I got to know her pretty well, and I think I was already kind of at a turning point before this moment, but there was a moment where I was in San Francisco at the time, and she was too. I was visiting, and we just hung out for a while, right? And prior to that, I was already not as adamant against gay people as I was, but at that moment, it was really kind of like the light bulb went off. Like, it is so absurd to have any sort of animosity towards someone simply because of their sexuality. I will say sexual preference, if I don't want to offend anybody, but that's the only way I can explain it right now, is just whether they're gay or straight or whatever. It's so absurd to have any sort of negativeness based on the fact of who they choose to be with. And during that time in San Francisco, it really was enlightening because I realized how it doubled the spotlight on how absurd that was to think that way. And it helped me really destroy that wall of, any sort of animosity or bigotry, I guess would be a good word for it. And kind of cleared my mind in the whole situation. Which is great. And it was interesting to go through that experience. So coming back to where I'm at now, I have absolutely no problems if someone's gay or whatever. I know some people might think I'm not supportive because I'm not a real big fan of, these parades and stuff and whatnot. I don't see the point in celebrating sexuality because it shouldn't be that defining to you. It's just who you are. You should treat it just as who you are, and others should too. And it shouldn't mean anything. If you say, "Oh, you're gay" or transgender or whatever, it really shouldn't mean anything to anybody. They shouldn't care. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat. But to celebrate it like that, the problems I have with the celebration part is like it kind of pushes it into the face of others who may not be so comfortable with it. And so what that does is it instills a defensive reaction. And that defensive reaction is often hate, bigotry, obscenities, whatever. So it's like putting fuel on a fire, right? They have little embers of anger or irritation because you're gay, and then you come in and just pour gasoline on it, right? That's the sort of thing that's going on. That's how I view it. Anyway, but it doesn't make me any less of an advocate for gay people or whatever, right? I know some people, they're absolute with their support. Like, you have to be 100% full bore supporting the whole thing or not. I'm not one of those people. So if you don't like it, that's okay. I don't really care. But like go back in Colorado here, when we had the guy who was quite religious and didn't want to bake a cake he didn't want to decorate a cake for a gay couple, and I took him to court and stuff. See, to me that's absurd. If the guy wants to be anti-gay or hateful even, that's his choice. You don't have to patronize him. You can tell others about it, and they don't have to patronize, whatever. You can use free market capitalism to fight against this bigotry, instead of going to court and being petty and trying to force your views on his views, right? Because you wouldn't want him to take you to court and force you to be straight and Christian. I mean, that's absurd, right? So you're basically telling him to support what you're doing, a gay marriage, which he's strongly against. That doesn't make any sense. And I'm an advocate. I'm not going to say I love gay people. I'm an advocate for gay people. I will always fight for your rights. But in that case, that's not a right. He's not preventing you from getting married. He's not preventing you from having a cake. He's preventing you from having a cake from his bakery. It's not even preventing the cake, it's just decorating of the cake. So you see how absurd it gets when you start breaking it down? They could have gone to one of the other 30 bakers in the whole area, but they chose him because they wanted to make a point. And when you start doing that sort of thing, that's when you build people against you. So wake up on that report, or that point. So anyhow, going back to what I'm saying, I have a fix for the whole debate around gay marriage, right? So here's the crux of the debate around gay marriage, is people, rightfully, think it shouldn't matter if you're gay, straight, whatever, if you want to get married, right? This should be celebrated either way. It doesn't matter if you're man and woman, or man and man, woman, whatever. So obviously, people who are religious, or people who are anti-gay, don't believe that. They believe it should be man and a woman, right? So here's a fix. And this is 100% the fix, and it requires the least amount of legislation, the least amount of changes. In fact, you probably wouldn't even have to vote on it. All you have to do is change verbiage. So, a marriage license is a legally binding contract, right? All you need to do is convert a marriage license verbiage to remove any identifiers, man and woman, whatever, and have it say, these two people, I'm cutting hairs now, right? Two people capable of entering into a contract have agreed to enter a marriage contract. That's what a marriage license is. It's a contract recognized by the state between two people. Now, the contract depends. Now, this is how you bar people marrying kids and goats and all this other crap. A contract can only be entered by two people who are legally capable of entering a contract, right? Now, you can limit it to two people, which is probably, you want to prevent polygamy and stuff like that, or you can just leave it open. But let's just stick with monogamy. So, two people legally capable of entering a contract have entered a contract of marriage. That's it. There's no man and woman, there's no separation or identity there. It's just two legal entities capable of entering a contract. That's what a contract is. That's how you enter it. That's what a marriage license should be. Just a license should just be a contract between two people capable of entering a contract. That gets rid of marriage to children, special needs, people who can't make a decision, who are incapable mentally of making a decision. I think there's other stuff around people who are barred from doing it due to legal reasons, things like that. Can't enter contract with an animal, bestiality, that sort of crap. So there you go. That solves the marriage license issue. And then what else? So now the religious folk and the churches that go, hey, wait, what about us? People come to us because they respect our religion, they want to be married in our church, whatever. So this is the beauty of it. The contract portion of it is all the state needs, all the insurance company needs, all the inheritance, passing needs. That's legalities. The church has never had any sort of legal precedence over the whole concept of marriage. All the church is doing is giving you a certificate saying that you were married there under this religion. So, what you do, legal contract for the marriage legality stuff, the churches, you give them 100% power to marry whoever they want and deny whoever they want, and they can issue their certificates to the heart's content. It has no legal binding. It doesn't have a legal binding now either, so keep that in mind. In this way, you allow for gay marriage without any repercussions or restrictions, and you allow the churches to fully, segregate who they marry or don't marry. If they don't want to marry a gay couple, they don't have to, and there's no legal precedence to force them to, which is extremely important in today's society because it's a free society. You cannot legislate morality or views on others. That's something we need to understand. So, let the churches do what they want to do, as long as the legal binding contracts are in place. And there you have your legal process separated from your religious church process. What do we call that? Separation of church and state. Voila. I'm here all day. I'm telling you. Want to solve any other problems, let me know. I'm happy to. Take care, peace, love you.